Week 15 has concluded. Let's look at the state of the Texans. Let's get an update on CJ Stroud. Let's talk about the big picture with 3 games remaining on the aftermath, the day after the big win in Tennessee. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do.
Business is picking up. Texans right there in the playoff mix. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central, Sports Radio 610, and the Odyssey app. Exclusive interviews with players throughout the week. Right now, the Texans, they're sitting pretty after that win against the Tennessee Titans. They're right there in the mix. Now, not technically, they are on the outside of things in the playoffs, but they are in a cluster in the division, as we say. And this is the post week wrap up that we do at the conclusion of Monday Night Football every Monday here in the locker room. As the state of the league, we always start this off with the state of the NFL. And where teams sit record-wise. Right now, there are 13 teams with winning records in the NFL. There are 6 teams that are sitting at 7-7, and there are 12 teams with losing records. So that's where you're at. 13, 6, or yeah. 13, 6, 12. How you know what I'm trying to say. It's I tweeted it out. 13, 12, and 7. So 13 teams with winning records, 7 teams sitting at 7-7, and 12 teams with losing records. Texans are one of those teams with a winning record. In fact, the Texans, Jags, and Colts are all at 8-6, and all 3 of those teams will control their own destiny. So if the Texans are able to win out, they'll win the division. They'll be in the playoffs. If the Colts win out, they'll win the division. They'll be in the playoffs. And the Jags have the tiebreaker. Now, it's going to be more difficult for the Jags because Trevor Lawrence is in concussion protocol. Now, we've already seen that weird-ass high ankle sprain where he was back at practice, I think, the next day or whatever the hell that was. But he's in concussion protocol. Chances are he's not going to play. And Jacksonville is going to Tampa Bay to take on a team that's actually playing some pretty decent ball. They just won the big game in Green Bay. So there's a chance if the Texans can handle business this week, and it's not going to be easy, the Texans could be in first place in the AFC South. There's a chance, too, that, that pillow fight that we saw last year at the end of the season, that many of us, raised my hand, were upset that the Texans won against Indianapolis, and many Colts fans were happy that they lost. There's a chance that, this year, this could be for the AFC South. Right now, you have 2 teams in the Texans and Colts that have a lot of reason for optimism, perhaps surpassed most people's expectations. They got 2 really good first-year coaches, and the future looks bright. The arrow appears to be pointing up, although Indianapolis, the edge that the Texans have is that the Texans have a quarterback that you think is going to be a really, really, really good quarterback for the next few years. You can make a case that Anthony Richardson's not even the best quarterback on his team. So the Colts, I don't want to say they're like going to have to take steps back next year, but AR-15 can't stay on the field, and AR-15 can't really he's not, I don't know that he's better than Gardner Minshew. So that's where we're at when it comes to the division. Games of note this week. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. Be sure to subscribe, right along. Young Costa, did you miss Will Anderson yesterday? We're bringing that back up. We're moving on from the Will Anderson thing. Although I will say, this is interesting. Derrick Henry, the Texans actually tweeted this out. Derrick Henry is the first player in NFL history to have 20 touches and less than 15 scrimmage yards. That's insane to me. And we got on the text line today. Shout out to all the loopholes. If you listen, you are one. We got on the text line today. Not often. I don't want to generalize and act like it was like a big thing, but there's probably about 5 of each. That two things. Number one, Case Keenum didn't play that well, blah, blah, blah. They won in spite of him. He's a backup quarterback. Okay. Should he have maybe thrown the interception when Dalton Schultz snagged it? Sure. But beggars can't be choosers, especially when it comes to a backup quarterback. So I kind of roll my eyes at that. The thing I roll my eyes about even more, and I get that Tennessee's offensive line sucks. I get that Derrick Henry isn't what Derrick Henry once was, but to minimize the effort of that defense by saying that Tennessee sucks, that's actually ridiculous to me. Again, there have been some sucky teams in NFL history. There have been some crappy offensive lines. You didn't have Will Anderson, say what you want, arguably whatever, one of your best defensive linemen. You didn't have your best linebacker in Blake Cashman, and you didn't have Jimmy Ward, who left the game. So all 3 layers of your defense, from D-line to linebacker to DB, you were without those guys. And the first time in NFL history a player has 20 touches and less than 15 scrimmage yards, this thing's been around a long time. So I don't think you can minimize that defensive effort. Now, it'll be nice once they get Will Anderson back, once they get Blake Cashman back, and maybe build on this. It'll be nice to see, what the rotation looks like and all that. But I don't think you can, especially given the fact that they did it without all the people they did it without. If you're minimizing what the Texans did to the Tennessee Titans or Houston Oilers, whatever the hell, or Tennessee Oilers, whatever the hell they want to get called on, then I think you're doing yourself a massive disservice, and I think it's absolutely disrespectful to do that. George bringing up Steven Nelson. I think this is interesting. I want to give out some flowers to guys that maybe we didn't give flowers to yesterday. Not out of disrespect, but just you try to play the hits, and sometimes when you sleep on things, you get like a more clear picture. There's the immediate reaction, there's the reaction on Monday, etc. I talk about this a lot. I think Steven Nelson deserves a hell of a lot of flowers, and I think Steven Nelson deserves flowers for playing hurt. There's been twice this year, I think, that he hasn't practiced and he's been on the field. And with all the corny drama, and I think he's loony. I guess he emails about his Pro Football Focus grades and all that. Like, he does weird things. But with all the extra stuff and all that, Steven Nelson deserves a lot of credit because he's been damn good. And he came down with the big play yesterday when Will Levis threw it to him. So I think Stingley doesn't need flowers. In the life of Colby, I already said he's got better ball skills than a porn star. Derek, that's blatantly obvious that he's there. Christian Harris is another one. Christian Harris was mean as hell. Christian Harris was playing angry. He was playing angry during the play. He was playing angry after the whistle. He deserves his flowers as well. I think Jalen Petrie, he was okay. Say what you want. He contested the DeAndre Hopkins drop. I think Jalen Petrie deserves some credit. Malik Collins, a sack and a half. He did his thing. I think he deserves his flowers. Henry To'oTo'o, he was playing in 2 out of 3 phases. He helped you out. Derek Barnett looked awesome out there. Charlie Heck, he hasn't played since we mentioned that week 18 last year against the Colts. He deserves credit. KB bringing up Denzel Perriman. That's his kind of fight. That's his kind of party right there. Denzel Perriman, I think he deserves his flowers. Point I'm making is there's plenty of credit to give around. The offensive line, God knows if the offensive line sucks, I'm going to come on here and bitch about it. So the offensive line, they deserve credit. The tight ends, they deserve credit. Devin Singletary, we're already giving these guys, but there's a lot of unsung heroes that deserve a hell of a lot of credit. And you needed every ounce of that to get the job done. Dean asking about Cam Johnston. Is he okay? I noticed his punts weren't as long as they used to be. I think he's okay. That one, I know the one that you're talking about the most. I think you're talking about the one you might be talking about even the one on where it could have perhaps been a penalty on Hansen. You're used to him getting that, maybe even a touchback type of joint, but I know what you're talking about. I think Cam Johnston's fine. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. We got plenty of time to talk off season. I'm not even thinking about the off season at this moment. I've been thinking about off seasons at this point for the last 3 years. I'll cover it. I'll be on top of it. It's going to be daily content when it comes out, but I'm not even looking at the off season right now. Does Damian Pierce deserve flowers? Probably not. I don't think so. Denzel Perriman, yes. Probably not there. What did you think of not running an extra play with 2 timeouts and OT to get the kick closer? Well, I mean, at the time, I thought it was terrifying. But I guess they trust Kayemi Fairbairn from 54, and it showed up. But I'll be honest, I would have liked to have gotten a little bit closer there. But they felt fine with it. He felt fine with it, and he went up there and did his thing. Nelson dominates wide receivers who lack speed. We have to be mindful of that. Last week he got cooked by Garrett Wilson. I don't think, look, I don't think Steven Nelson's like God's gift. It's based on expectations. Be available, which he has been when hurt, battle, and figure it out. And by the way, Garrett Wilson's going to cook a lot of folks. If Aaron Rodgers had never gotten hurt, once they get a quarterback for Garrett Wilson's going to be cooking a lot of fools. No doubt. A lot of you complain about the Cincinnati 6 seed. It means nothing right now. It doesn't mean anything. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans on CJ. Like whether they're the 6 seed or not, doesn't matter. There's 3 weeks left, sir. So yeah, who cares? The tiebreakers will shape out. You'll figure it out, and then we'll see where the Texans are, where they aren't. But the tiebreakers and stuff, who cares? Doesn't matter. You control your own destiny. So who gives a damn? I'm not saying that like in like a disrespectful way or anything. I just don't. I don't. It doesn't matter at all. Those things. Games of note this week. We'll get into those. First, though, let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe, like. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. And I think this was DeMeco Ryans' signature win. This is the type of game. This is a signature dub for DeMeco Ryans. Up to this point, he's done a good job, but you've had CJ Stroud out there balling out and all that. This was a gutsy dub where Case Keenum house set, and he maybe will be giving the keys back to CJ to where he'll be good to go. Let's hear from the head coach, though.
How do you how'd your time for first place?
McLean upset or what? Yeah, McLean. By the way, McLean coming on tomorrow at 11.
Mingo, how do you how'd your time for first place? Get your players not to look ahead?
It's a great position that we're in as a team, and it's a credit to our guys and the work that they put in to put us in this position. So when it comes to first place and all those things, for us, we just focus on the moment, focus on the day. Right, every man in the room just focus on continuing to improve their game, continue to do as best as they can for the team, and focus on helping the team in any way they can. And those standings and all those things with playoff implications and all those things, they'll take care of themselves if we handle the ball the right way on the field.
2011, when you were a player and y'all were first place, about to win the division for the first time, did you not look ahead?
I can't remember. Such a long time ago, John. No, but it's exciting, right? It's exciting for everyone to be playing meaningful football around this time. And anytime, you're on the cusp or you have the opportunity to make the playoffs, that's always the goal every year, is to make the playoffs and have a chance there at the end. So that's a goal, and we want to make sure we achieve that goal, but you focus on what you can control.
One of the things Malik said is that on Saturday night, you guys pulled out the PowerPoint and just said, do your job. I mean, was that just the expectation? That was the message?
Yeah, for us, especially defensively, that was the key this week, was just to I challenge the guys to just do their job, because during our previous game versus the Jets, we did not do our job, and that's why it turned out the way it turned out. It was just mainly because of mistakes that we made, things that we've done well before, and we just weren't mentally locked in, and we didn't do our job, and it resulted in us, having a poor performance there in that second half. So I just challenged our guys and just do your job. And when we do our job, and just show clips of our guys, when we do our job and we do it the right way, this is how it looks. You're a pretty good defense when you play it the right way and everybody's where they're supposed to be.
What's the update on CJ? How's CJ feeling? And update with him?
Yeah, with CJ, and he's still in the concussion protocol, and we'll see how he progresses throughout the week.
Hey, Coach, a lot's been made about you guys' defense holding Derrick Henry to 9 yards on yesterday, but you guys have been doing a pretty solid job, a pretty good job of stopping the run all season. What's been
Talking about the run game here.
that aspect of the defense?
When it comes to the run game, like everything when it comes to defense, for me, it starts up front. And I think this past game versus the Titans, our interior defensive linemen, they play really well. Rankins, Collins, Heinisch, Khalil, they all play really good in the interior of our D-line. So they built a wall, and so the back wasn't able to, there was no space for him. He made the back check his feet, and our guys swarmed on the back end. But it started with our defensive line. Credit to them. They're the reason why we were able to play good run defense on yesterday, because they did such an outstanding job of just playing physical, penetrating, playing on their side of the line of scrimmage.
In regards to that, what was the when you start a new defense, when you come in, what was the first steps in making sure you got a solid run defense? Like, was it getting the interior straight? Like, what was that process?
I think for me, how you play good run defense, and the first thing where you start, it's all about the people. So it's about getting the right people, right? And for us, installing our techniques and how we play defense, playing the right way. We play an attack front, which is different than some teams, but we want to attack up front, right? We want to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. We want to penetrate. So it just starts with us, just structurally how we're built, right? Setting the edge, attacking up front. That's just how we're built. And I think if we play it the right way, we have answers for the run game.
On the final kick before Kaimi kicks it, you guys decide to let the clock run down. I had room to run another play. Is that a conversation just with Frank and Kaimi about, hey, he's good from this distance, or what went into sort of that decision?
Yeah, that decision on letting the clock run down, is we knew we were in Kaimi's range, and so we felt comfortable there, kicking the ball from there, and didn't want to. So we had got a holding call there on the touchdown by Motor, got a holding call, so just didn't want, and then they stuffed us. They zero blitzed us, and they stuffed us on the second run, so didn't want another negative play to take us back when we knew we were already in Kaimi's range. So just wanted to end the game right there on third down.
To that point, having a kicker that you can rely on, that you feel really confident about, how does that change maybe the way you game plan, or not game plan, but manage your game late in ball games when you know, hey, I feel on my kicker here.
Having Amy back was huge for us. Right? It's confidence for our entire team, knowing how good of a kicker he is, how he's been throughout his entire career, knowing the work that he's put in and how he showed up at practice each day, and just showing his teammates that he was ready to go. He was ready for the moment. And how does it change your game plan? You just want to know where is his range, and that changes a game-to-game basis with the wind, with the weather, whatever we're facing, right? We just want to know his range, how he kicks in pregame, and how he's feeling. So we had a good idea about his range there and felt really good about it. Emi felt good about it, and it's you don't know how bad you need a kicker until until you miss one, right? And kind of goes. It's a hard job. Right, it's a very hard job, a lot of pressure that goes into that moment, and everybody, you want to blame the kicker if it doesn't go well, but, man, it takes some confidence. It takes some strength to be calm, confident in the moment, and that's what Emi was for us, and, man, we're excited to have him back.
Coach, when the common person hears the next man up, it sounds, cliche or coach speak to us. But as a former player and now as a head coach, what is that next man mentality speech? What is that like? Or what are you telling the players that has to be that next man up?
The next man up approach, it's really about, seizing your opportunity. I think for me, it happened for me in my career. Just as I think back in college, NFL, like, if somebody went down with an injury, right, that was the opportunity for me to step up and showcase, all right, what can I do, as a player? And it's always opportunity, right? And you have to be ready for that moment when your number is called and show why you belong. And so for all of our guys, if you continue to have, for me, that team-first mentality, knowing that whatever I can do for the team, an unselfish mindset, is team first. However I can help the team when my number is called, even if I haven't gotten a lot of reps throughout the week, I'm ready for that moment because I've been preparing, I've been studying. And I challenged all our guys this past week to everybody study, everybody prepare as if you're a starter because it's going to take everybody in this game.
We'll take a few more.
How much did that impact this offense to have that?
How much did Schultz back impact the offense?
When you have a tight end who can, really threaten the middle of the field, right? And when you talk about mismatch coverage on linebackers or safeties, having Dalton, right, with his ability to work the middle of the field was huge for us. And no play bigger than the one, right, he took away from their defender there. I don't know if that's an interception or reception, but it was a great play by Dalton right there, a big-time play of him being aggressive at the catch point. So it was good to have him back and seeing him make those plays for us.
DeMeco Noah had 11 targets last night, had 7 the previous 2 games. What is key to keeping him in the flow of the offense, and how important is Noah going to be, especially with some guys maybe out and not knowing their status?
Noah's done a great job all year of being reliable. Noah finds a way to get open, and he continues to be reliable. The quarterbacks see that, and they get the ball to him. And Noah, the one thing I love about Noah is the way he's aggressive at the catch point, but the way he finishes. Right? All those catches that he made, the way he finished, with that physical mindset of going forward, it was really cool to see Noah make plays for us.
Coach, we talked about
the film day after the job the O-line did to open things up for Devin. You needed all that to happen on the day because
no doubt. Our O-line, they're the player of the game because that's one of the best games that they've had. They opened up the lanes. As you said, they opened up the lanes for Motor. Motor ran it well, but the way they blocked, their targets, the way they finished, thought everybody in the O-line stepped up for us when we needed it most. Haven't ran the ball well in a few weeks. That was one of our best run outings of the year, and it all starts with the men up front. And they did a really great job this past Sunday.
If CJ isn't able to go this week, you guys going to just run it back with Case?
We'll see how the week goes.
Following up on the way the line played up front with the run game, Case talked about how the way Motor runs, it kind of, he's able to, Dawes called him sneaky vision, but he's able to kind of create some space because of how he runs. Can you talk about that?
And yeah, Motor does have this sneaky ability to find space, right? He has really good contact balance, so he's not going down all the time on that first contact. He finds a way to maintain his balance and still find those lanes that the O-line has created. And Motor is always pressing forward, right? He's very shifty. You don't see it all the time, but he's shifty in the interior line. He's very shifty, and he finds a way to continue to press forward, fall for yardage. So he's doing a really nice job for us.
Every week, Laramie is on major role. Every week he plays and has played well. What do you see from Laramie?
This is water. This is water carrying by Aaron.
Yeah, Laramie pushes through every week. He's dealing with the knee, and he pushes through every week. It shows his toughness. It shows his mentality that he wants to be out there fighting for his teammates. It means a lot to him to be there. So, he prepares every week that way, and he's continuing to play good ball for us.
We'll close with DJ, Sarge, and John, or Sarge, DJ, and John.
Go ahead, DJ.
As you heaped a lot of praise on Derek Stingley, he's obviously a pretty quiet corner. How does that help him play in and play out in terms of being able to make plays and having that even keel personality?
Corner is a position where you have to have that confidence first and foremost, and you have to be even keel because things don't always go your way out there. You're on the island where everybody sees what happens, right? When you're on the island at that corner and you're going up against some of the best athletes in the NFL. So when a play doesn't go your way, how are you going to respond? Sometimes guys are going to make plays, but you have to be even keel enough to know you can come back the next play and be prepared for the route and go up and take the ball away. So you have to remain calm when you're playing corner, and Sting has done that. Right, he has a good presence about him. He's calm. Right, he has a really good play demeanor about himself, and that's what allows him to make those plays.
Coach, a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball, and a lot has been made about the adaptability of the players to, like we talked about earlier, with the next man up mentality. Can you talk about the way that your first-year offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, has been able to adapt as well?
This is a question about Slowick.
And Slowick has done a really good job of a lot of uncertainty every week with who's up. Right, you want to design plays for certain guys. You put them in their best position, and it's been difficult not knowing who will be available, or it's later in the week. So how are you going to structure your game plan accordingly? And I think Slowick and his staff has done a really good job of adjusting, not only throughout the week, but also adjusting in game. When we've lost guys, they've been able to keep it moving. And Slowick has done a really good job of holding it together.
Last two for Chance and John.
I know as a team, you guys will focus on the next team that's coming up, but how do you balance that with also understanding the stakes as you approach the stretch run?
What's up, Chancellor Johnson?
Right, the only thing we can be concerned about is the Browns. Nothing else matters. So all of our focus, all of our attention, everything that we do this week is geared toward going up against a really tough opponent in the Browns who are playing really good football at this time.
Last one, John.
DeMeco, Charlie Hack, talk about him, his pass protection and his run blocking.
Yeah, Charlie's good to have him out there. He hadn't played in a while. I thought Charlie did really good, in this past game. A little rusty, still some things to clean up, but overall I thought it was a really good outing for his first time, and he has a lot to continue to build off of.
All right, thank you.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. That's DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from who do y'all want to hear from? I got the FTPs here. Do y'all want to hear from Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz, both, either or? Who would you rather hear from? Noah Brown, we've interviewed him on the show before. He's just a hard-o Jersey guy, man. Just very no nonsense. Definitely not like a sound clip, dude. Just a badass. Noah Brown, and then Dalton's kind of a little bit goofy, gamer, good dude. Real smart Stanfordy. But we'll hear from each of them. Let's get to a couple of the comments, though, because that is the point of this. It is the locker room. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. Talking about the Texans at 8-6 with the Browns coming to town. Which, by the way, I'm happy that I don't really have to talk about Deshaun that much this week. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, it was part of our job. We did it to the fullness of our ability. I enjoyed watching Deshaun play football from 2017 to 2020. I'm not going to be one of these people that's going to rewrite history and act like I didn't. I did see kind of a change in his personality, which I brought up when he was here, just kind of the materialism, but covering and the Deshaun thing it kind of became a little bit of an ass whooping. So I'm actually glad that, there's more focus on a good football team. And Cleveland's a good football team too. Someone asks, Dice TV asks, is Miko coach of the year or not? If I had a vote, my vote would go to Kevin Stefanski right now, with all the crap that he dealt with in Cleveland. Now, DeMeco and Shane Steichen would be right there near the top. So my top three, and the Texans are going to match up with the other two in the mix, but it would be Shane Steichen, Kevin Stefanski, DeMeco Ryans, as it sits right now. If DeMeco beats both of those guys down the stretch to get into the playoffs, I absolutely think he's going to be coach of the year. And I don't have like, this isn't like one of those, you got to pound the table for the guy type of takes. I don't think you could go wrong with any of those guys. But if I had to vote right now, like let's say the season ended right now, and it doesn't. So a lot of stuff can shape up. It's going to be a fluid process. My vote would be for Kevin Stefanski. The Deshaun drama, all that crap, lost Nick Chubb. You're in a division with Baltimore and Cincinnati. You're winning games with multiple quarterbacks. You got the ghost of Joe Flacco right now. So my vote would be for Kevin Stefanski, but I wouldn't trade DeMeco Ryans for any of these coaches in the entire league. I think DeMeco is the perfect guy for this job. Do the Colts have this record with Richardson? I would say no. But I'm not a big AR-15 guy. Dalton Schultz rip-away catch in the red zone will go down as one of the best in Texans history. I agree with that, especially if you consider this a gutsy game. Speaking of which, let's hear from Dalton Schultz. Here's Dalton Schultz with the media types.
Just thinking of the Mike McDaniel, the Germany press conference. You know what y'all are thinking? I'm smaller than. Yeah, that's something that we set up all game. Like those things are hard just because, you know, you're told to kind of go through the middle of the field and just kind of find a landmark. And I was just trying to honestly show up for Case, like get in his vision so he could see me. And it's, you know, he kind of lofted a ball up there and like trusted me to go make a play. Watching the clip back, like I don't really know, like how it all like shook out, but like I knew that I caught it, like because I had it like in my hand the whole time. So like kind of goes up, it's a contested catch, bang bang. Like we rushed the ball because I don't think the coaching staff was like, they didn't know if like I caught it. I was like, dude, that's why I celebrated. Like I spun the ball, but yeah, that was I mean, those plays are just a culmination of just a lot of like work and training and honestly just trust. Like Case trusted me to go make a play and I was able to do that.
Noah was talking about how to be in the hunt, to know when you're coming to work, that you're in meaningful games, and you know, this could go anyway. You guys are in the playoffs. Lots of teams are trying to compete for that spot. What's it like? Is it kind of energize you guys, give you a little juice?
I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't think we need any extra juice. Like, regardless if we're in or out, like, we're going to come to work the same way. And I think, you know, being in the position that we're in, you know, that just tells us that we need to be on our details and take advantage of the opportunities that we're presented.
What is it about Case that brings confidence to everybody around him?
Just the experience. Like, the experience, the way he carries himself, the way he prepares. Like, I think he did a great job all game of just being able to kind of, you know, like we have wordy play calls sometimes, and like some of those wordy play calls have like double motions too, and it's like you only got 25 seconds on a play clock. And so as soon as he hears those, like he's getting guys back in the huddle. He's like, hey, come on, we got to go. Like he's been there, you know, he's been there, he's done that. He handled himself really well. He's poised. He communicated really well, and he was prepared, as prepared as any quarterback that I've been around.
The adversity that you all went through, missing so many players on the offensive side of the ball, how much did the experience of you and Noah knowing each other, playing with each other, you know, for a couple of years, how much did that help you all yesterday?
I mean, I can't like point to any one thing of like, you know, this is the reason, but like I think it just goes back to the preparation that you put in. Like, you know, we all know, you know, especially like I know Noah like prepares as hard as anybody. And so I think just with the amount of training and, you know, everything that goes in throughout the week, you know, that's something that, you know, we can both kind of hang our hat on. And, you know, Noah showed up big for us all game, and obviously super excited for him to have another big one.
As a competitor, I know you always expect to win, but obviously this organization that hasn't been able to do that as much as this team would like over the past few years. For you, coming over to the team, when did you know, like, hey,
When did you know that y'all could make some?
Man, it's a good question. Like really for me, like it was kind of when I saw like CJ. Like, dude, when you have a quarterback that's back there that make the throws that he's making, like OTAs, you see glimpses, training camp, you see glimpses, preseason's one thing, you see, you go like, okay, like that was a really good throw. And then you see him like turn it on in the regular season, like, dude, the kid is a freaking baller. And so when you have a guy back there that like, and you feel like no matter what the score is, like we're in it, like it can energize an offense and obviously an entire team, offense feeding off the defense and vice versa. So
Speaking off of that, do you feel that same way when that same type of feeling that you have for CJ, you have that same type of feeling for DeMeco as well, knowing that,
Did you have that feeling for DeMeco?
Yeah, man, DeMeco's got he's like, that was the first thing that I noticed about him is like straight energy. Like I'm sure you guys have talked to him up here multiple times. Like he's got that like aura about him. You know what I mean? Defensive minded head coach, rubs some of the offensive guys the wrong way sometimes, but we work through that. It's a good working relationship. But yeah, man, DeMeco, he's been great, especially for a first-year head coach. Come in like first opportunity, and kind of have the success that he's had. Not only as a head coach, but on the defensive side of the ball as well. Like, I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do, over the next few years.
Getting that win yesterday, you think that kind of gained him more Coach of the Year votes?
Did he gain Coach
I don't know.
of the Year?
Hey, I just work here.
How impactful is that energy on the sidelines on game day from him?
Oh, it's big. It's big. Obviously, I think it's tough because like DeMeco is that guy for us, and like you also got to respect the fact that like he's got a lot on his plate as a head coach on game days, and so like you kind of stay at an arm's length away, but like you see him when he's fired up. Often comes down, scores a touchdown. He's the first one to like meet everybody, dapping everybody up. Like, nah, it's great, man. His energy's great.
Dalton Noel was a lot more involved in the offense yesterday than the previous 2 weeks. Was that a product of so many guys were out and he had to step up?
Obviously.
Was it a matter of the offense
Just
guys?
asked, was Noah part of the offense more because guys were out?
Maybe a little of both. I think Case put a lot of trust in him. Noah had a lot of favorable looks. Like, I mean, shoot, like on a few third downs, we ran the same play probably 4 times, like just variations of the same play. Like, so I think part of that too is slow trusting him to, be in those spots. I mean, dude, you cut the all 22 on. There's a couple like that he doesn't get the ball on that like, dude, he's routing a guy up, like just killing a guy. So I think, again, he's put a lot of time into his craft, and like there's a reason he gets opportunities, to make big plays. And so it goes back to the level of preparation.
How important was it for the defense to be able to give you all so many offensive opportunities, I guess?
Oh, it was big, especially in overtime. Like, to lose the toss, defense, shot the defense out there, boom, our ball. Like, did they go 3 and out? It was quick. That's all I know. Like, it was like bang, bang, bang. We get the ball back, and then, shoot, we go 3 and out. Big play on special teams. Then we get the ball right back. Like, it's big when you have a defense that you can kind of hang your hat on, especially in those big moments where, like, you need a stop. And they felt like they came up with, every one that we needed yesterday.
We'll close with Cam.
Can you talk about watching Motor yesterday? I heard Case in the interview say sometimes you can just see how he make these small moves that open up.
It's like, dude, it's so subtle. Like, he's got such good vision just in the zone schemes, like, and he's got sneaky balance. Like, it always takes a little bit more than you think, will take to bring him down. Dude, the scramble, like, I was on a route on the opposite side of the field, and I saw him, like, I'm kind of running across the field, and I saw Case break the pocket, and I saw Motor turn up, and, like, as soon as he turned up, like, if there's a clip of it somewhere, like, I'm literally screaming, like, run, Motor, run! Like, but yeah, man, to have a guy like step up in those big time moments and being able to make those plays, dude, I'm pissed about the power they called back. Just like because he could have had another big one like very next play. And so, yeah, Motor's done a great job all year. And yeah, he's got incredible vision.
Thanks, folks.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. It's Dalton Schultz. Funny guy. That Dalton Schultz. The Cowboys, the Cowboys scraps have been good to the Texans too. And I know there's a lot of people in Houston that dislike the Cowboys. Cowboys scraps, they did not want I'm not saying they made like wrong decisions or anything, but they did not want to bring back Schultz. He's been big for the Texans in certain times. Just a completely different element when he's out there. And they did not want Noah Brown. And both of them have come up big. We'll hear from Noah in a sec. A couple of comments. Jacory says, JG's been getting a lot of sacks and pressures that I was crediting to Will Anderson Sunday. He was making some things happen by himself. Yeah, and Matt Burke earlier this year, I think it was when Grenard had 2 or 3 sacks in a game. He said, well, yeah, they didn't get him without Will Anderson. Whether that's true or not, I actually think Grenard created some other sacks yesterday. And I think Grenard showed that, at least yesterday, Will Anderson or not, he was out there to bring it. And that's a good thing because you saw what Will Anderson did against Denver. They don't win that game without Will Anderson. And they were able to play. They were able to put on a historic performance, which we spoke about at the start of this stream. 20 touches, 15 scrimmage yards for Derrick Henry. First time in NFL history someone's had 20 touches and 15 scrimmage yards. So a historic performance without Will Anderson. Good football team or not. Clayton says, let's not fool ourselves. We lucky to get out there with the W. What we need is solid 3-phase game this week and get a 10-plus point win. Cleveland's pretty scrappy, sir. I don't know about 10-point wins. I don't know how common those are in the NFL. I mean, I know in college they're common, but I mean, if we're just looking at this week's lines, just to put that in perspective, and we can look at this week's scores. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was actually a lot of double-digit wins. There was 10 double-digit wins this week. So there was that. As far as like double-digit point spreads, and this week there's not a single double-digit point spread. So except Kansas City versus the Raiders, and then Giants Eagles. So there's 2 out of 16. Usually NFL games are going to be close. But yeah, lucky or not, this was a get the dub and get the F out of town situation. There was no style points. You knew it was going to be ugly if they were going to win. So yeah, I mean, lucky to get a dub, sure. But that was really just the main goal there. And I think it was the realistic expectation for even the most optimistic of Texans supporters, whatever. Jacory says there's a lot of season left, but Houston is slowly becoming a real destination for guys who want to be a part of something that can actually go win games. Yeah, I do think it's a free agent destination. Andre Johnson actually told me that last week when I had him on the radio show. Yeah, it's becoming more appealing. With Mike Boone being waived today, I assume now that Dare is going to be used more in the rush game. Hopefully he's not running slants and stuff like he was. That was a little too much Dare in the pass game for me yesterday. I know he can do a lot of things and he can do pretty much anything, but that was a lot. Not going back to the coach of the year conversation with the Browns coming to town, not mad at the Stefanski's take. He does have way more to work with from a roster standpoint, though. I mean, you can make that case. I would argue that having CJ Stroud kind of makes it a little bit easier. And if you look at how shaky their quarterback situation's been, they also lost Nick Chubb. They have a good offensive line. The receiving core is not awesome, but it's not awful. They still are able to run the ball. Myles Garrett's one of the best players in the league, and they have some elite talent on D. So I can see where you're saying that. The quarterback thing, though, for me, is what's interesting. Let's hear from Noah Brown, man. A few words before we get out of here. Let's hear what Noah Brown had to say And he doesn't. I mean, it's very, very businesslike. It's a lot like when he goes on the field. He's just gonna. It's all business. He's got that hard ass Jersey vibe. I enjoy it. Pizza snob though. Give him a hard time about that. Pizza snob. There's Noah Brown. Look at that. He ain't messing around.
Had you had a chance to catch a lot of passes from Case in practice sessions, or did you have some time with them on the clip again?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, catch from all the quarterbacks during practice. You know, there's different periods during practice, routes on the air, whether it be team takeoff, stuff like that, where we get a chance to work with everybody. So I was definitely comfortable with Case.
With the wide receivers group a little bit undermanned coming into Sunday's game, how much personal pride do you take in general about being a guy that the team can rely on to step up and make plays the team needs you?
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in that. I think it was pretty apparent in our room that, you know, we were down some guys and responsibility was going to be on us to step up. And, you know, I was proud of everybody in our room. I feel like we all did individual things that help contribute. And anytime we can do that, we'll be well off as a team.
Coming into the game, what did you see throughout the week as far as practice is concerned to know that Case would be able to do what he did, especially in the second half?
Not even so much as practice this week. I just know Case's track record. He's been doing this a long time. He brings an incredible amount of confidence to the huddle. Just the way he calls the play, you can tell he's got control over it. He's confident in what's about to happen, and we feed off of that.
Now, did you feel there was a stronger effort this past game to get you the ball and look your way than maybe the previous 2 games?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think, you know, last week I had a couple opportunities, just didn't finish the plays. But I think they were looking for me last week. Just this week I was able to capitalize and finish those plays.
Was Case any different early in the game, slow start, after the interception, the rest of the game, or pretty much the same in the huddle?
No, I mean, that's part of what Case brings to this team is he's always the same guy. And that's a guy with a lot of energy, a lot of confidence. You know, he wasn't shaken by anything that happened during the game. And I think that's a big reason why we won.
Now that you've been back for a few weeks, are you starting to feel more like yourself? Is your knee injury kind of slowly getting better and better?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm definitely getting back in rhythm. You know, definitely the more reps you get out there coming off a break, the better. But, you know, I wasn't unprepared from the beginning. Just got to do a better job finishing plays.
They haven't been through that type of adversity before, coming into a game, missing so many starters, but still coming out with the win, and especially knowing that next man up mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for a while. Every time I'm up here, I have great confidence in everybody on our team, specifically the wide receiver room. I truly feel from the number one guy to everybody on practice squad that given a chance they can go out there and ball. So, you know, I think that feeling permeates throughout the team, and we go out there and handle business.
Well, you're in a playoff race, and it's pretty crowded. There are a lot of teams that, depending on the next 3 weeks, will either be in the playoffs or they'll be outside looking in. Does that energize you guys? Is that something like, you know, the Victory Monday, like, you know, you guys are thinking about it, thinking about this postseason and what you got to do to get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the goals for all 32 teams starting the season is to have your games mean something around this time, and they mean a whole lot, and that definitely energizes this team. We recognize where we are, but we also recognize the focus that's required to get the job done. So we're excited.
To that point, I get as a competitor, you always, you know, you expect to win every game, right? But coming over from a new team, you really don't know what to expect. What was the moment that you know, like, hey, this team, we can be something special, we can really make some noise this year? What was that moment?
I think I saw it in OTAs, really. Just, you know, we got a lot of guys on our team. It's a younger team, but the veterans on the team are great veterans, leading an excellent way, willing to share everything they know with the young guys, and the young guys are very hungry. And, you know, that dynamic is special in itself. And seeing that in OTAs, I knew that if we can stay focused, we can make something happen.
What was your feeling after the Singletary touchdown in overtime got called back?
You know, disappointed. Obviously, you know, I felt like a lot in that game we got in our own way, and that was another example of that. But you know, had all the confidence in Emi that wherever we were at, he was going to push it through. So you know, disappointed in the fact that we keep shooting ourselves in the foot, but had confidence in Emi.
Last one?
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll go last 2 right here. Go ahead.
You got it. Go ahead, James. Oh, say, you mentioned about Evie. With him being such a great kicker, not every team has that. Like, what is that like knowing that, hey, we have a guy that the ball right position, you feel like you have confidence that he's going to knock it down every single
It's huge. I think it alters a lot of offensive play calls in those type of situations. Allows us to be a little bit, we're obviously still aggressive, but allows us to be a little more conservative in spots where we know we got somebody who can make it from this distance and get out here with a win.
You and Dalton are really good friends on the field and off the field. How much did you all's experience play into helping this team get that win on yesterday?
I think it played a decent amount. Dalton's been in a lot of big games and came through in a lot of ways in those big games. So this is nothing new to him. Seeing him make that grab down in the red zone was huge. But that's Dalton for you. He's a competitor and he's going to do whatever he can to make the play. So.
What about yourself, though?
Same thing for me. I always want to make the play. Anytime I can do that for my team, and I knew that this week I would have that opportunity, and I just wanted to capitalize on it.
Thanks, Noah. Thank you.
All right, there you go. It's Noah Brown. So the Texans, it's on to Cleveland. They get the big win against the Titans. Ugly, beautiful, however you want to look at it. They got that. Other games of note this week. We already mentioned Texans Browns. Christmas Eve, going to be interesting to see what that vibe's like. The Jags are going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Opened as a 1-point favorite. Not sure if the line's still up or not. But Tampa Bay, they're right there in that mix. Baker Mayfield coming off a really good performance. So the Jags could be in jeopardy. Bengals are going to Pittsburgh. It would be nice for Pittsburgh to do the Texans a favor. The Steelers open as a 2.5-point underdog. But that was before the news that dropped that Jamar Chase is going to miss a lot of time. Not a lot of time, but he's going to miss some time. So you have the Bengals without Jamar Chase. You have the Jags without Trevor Lawrence. Colts going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Arthur Smith right now, for me, this is basically a Brandon Staley, Bill O'Brien type of situation where you're bringing him back. Maybe he buys time by like winning a division or something like that next year. But he's a bit coach, and you're not going to reach the ultimate success with Arthur Smith. The game he's playing with Bijan Robinson is actually pathetic. Then you got the Bills at Chargers. I think the Bills are the scariest team right now in this 8-6 mix. I don't think anyone really wants to play them. Obviously, they're not consistent, but Buffalo, they're battle tested, and they always talk about peaking at the right time and stuff. They appear to be peaking at a decent time. So it all comes down to the Texans versus Browns. Will CJ Stroud be back or not? What's it going to look like when CJ comes back? Is there going to be a little bit more balance now that they feel confident they can run the ball? That's something to keep an eye on, as well as all the other injuries. But the Texans get the dub against the Titans. One of the most exciting wins that I can remember. One of the most improbable to many. And fun times are ahead. The final three, and what was supposed to be Deshaun Watson coming to town on Christmas Eve is a big game about with a lot on the line for both squads. But Deshaun's not here. He'll probably be sipping champagne in a suite or something, doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And will we see CJ Stroud? Who knows? But regardless, it's going to be a big game. Appreciate you for coming through. Please be sure to subscribe, and ride along. Best Texans coverage in the country. Know a lot of you were upset with John McClain for his shenanigans with the Tennessee Titans / Old Oilers. He's going to join the show at 11 Central tomorrow. So fire up the Odyssey app, get on the YouTube or Twitch on Sports Radio 610 and check that out. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, it's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time.